Elway boots and rolls to his right, stops, loads it up, throws down deep in the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Rod Smith, Denver, touchdown. Inside the 10, head first. He flies off the 5-yard line. Wanted that first down.
And I tell you what, you want to tell me the 37-year-old man that's going to win this game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year.
Hello, welcome Broncos country. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup. Appreciate you joining us. We're part of the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Already stumbling over those words, but I'm going to stumble right into welcoming our regular co-hosts. We'll welcome in Jody. We'll welcome in Albert. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Welcome.
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I mean, all in all, certainly a lot of bad news that we can get to and a game that we can get to as well. But, health is good. It was a kind of a nice summery day out there. We had a lot of fog early in the morning, burned off, and got a little yard work done, got a little work on the old vintage trailer. Continue to get that thing, trying to get that thing in order. But, yeah, doing pretty good, man. How about you, Albert?
I'm doing very well too, even although we did not have a great Sunday. But all in all, it is a good week. I'm making progress with my investigations at work, so that's a good thing.
All right, man. Inspector Gadget right over there, Mile High Dutchie. Jody, man, how's your week been, man?
Crazy busy getting our house painted. Busy at work. Have to listen to all the bad news with the Broncos, but we'll dive into that.
I've been trying to dig myself out of that funk a little bit, man, because there's certainly plenty to get down about. Before we get all down, though, I want to give a shout out. Thanks to Willow Seasonings and Blends. They're always a fantastic sponsor for us, not only for our today's show, but every show, and even a little bit of Time to Ride. So check out their amazing product lineup at willowseasonings.com. I know somebody went and checked them out. Albert.
Yeah, this is my favorite. It's a sweet heat, and you don't have to use it just for your barbecue. You can put it on your hamburger seasonings and just in the frying pan. It is great. And sweet heat, indeed what it is. Little sweet, not too much heat, even for the people who cannot stand heat at all. This is really doable.
Yeah, I'm a little SPG fan myself. I love that stuff. I put it on my burgers as well. So, yeah, good tip. And, of course, willowseasonings.com. Head on over there. Check out their lineup. They got rubs. I think they still have some sauces still available. So get those while they last. I know those are kind of be a limited time product for them. So, gentlemen, we got kind of a lot to get through, but I kind of wanted this to be an open conversation. A lot of times we have a big set agenda all the way throughout kind of our show, I guess you could say. And I want everyone to join in the conversation. You guys, obviously, but all our viewers, all our commenters, all our subscribers, jump on in, join the conversation. I know that I put this in a particular order, and I'm going to throw you guys a curveball right off the bat because I think I'm going to go to I had like 3 main topics. I think we're going to go to that second topic first. So, we're about a quarter of the way through the season now. We have, of course, the new coaches and new quarterbacks. We've talked about this, new ownerships, but we also have injuries and a 2-2 record. And like I said, there's so much we can talk about. I'm going to call this one the state of the Broncos. And Albert, I'll let you get this started. Man, just what do you think? Where are we at? Where are we at a quarter way of the season? It's a quarter of the way through the season. How are you feeling about the Broncos? What is your in-depth analysis?
I think one of the biggest things is we have now 8 ACL damages in 3 years. I think that is too much, and hopefully, I surely hope that we will see Javonte Williams back, because this could be a career-ending injury from what I hear. So the injuries is one of the things that is very troubling for me. But all in all, with the team that we have, I saw some really good things from Russell Wilson last Sunday.
Yeah.
Our defense was not the greatest last Sunday. Let's say that the least.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, they are very good. We were just surprised. But yeah, the season-ending for injury for Javonte, I think that's horrible.
Just to speak on that for a second before we go over to Jody, I did see one statistic that is very dooming, I guess you could say. 70% of all people come back from the multiple CL injuries, I guess you could say, that he has. ACL, MCL, PCL tear in that knee, multiple tendons that were repairing in that. So 70% of the people come back, 30% come back to the full capabilities they were at before. So a lot of talk already about looking forward. This could be a long time to get him all the way back healthy. Yep. If he's able to get there. Already talking about what the future at running back might be for the Broncos after this season. Jody, man, let's go over to you, man. What's your thoughts, or tally on to what we got, whatever you got, man?
My thoughts, this team is not where I thought they would be. I'll give the coaching staff a D. They've been really not good. I mean, Ejiro has been pretty good. I mean, you're going to have a bad game here or there, and that's when you need the other side of the ball to pick you up, and that didn't happen. There's just a lot of head scratchers. We were very vanilla on offense. We were very predictable. We don't try to get other guys involved. It's basically Cortland Sutton and Russell Wilson, and where are the other receivers? I mean, if KJ Hamler is going to see the field for 4 plays, granted, he had one big play in that game, but put him on IR. Put someone out there that's going to see the field. We really missed Tim Patrick, but he's not coming back. So, I mean, there's just a lot of head scratchers. I mean, like last week, we dressed Miners knowing he's not going to play and sit a guy like Virgil when we need wide receiver help. There's just been a lot of head scratchers, and now with Williams out, I mean, right after that fumble, I was cut Gordon, but I mean, after the Williams injury, I mean, you're gonna have to lean on him. I mean, you've seen Mike Boone; he got Russell sacked twice. He was horrible in the pass blocking. He dropped 2 big passes, and that's why he's 3rd on the depth chart. You're gonna have to lean on Gordon whether you like it or not. I mean, he is Denver's best option, and you've got to. Whoever it is in that locker room's got to get his confidence right and his head on straight, because Denver really needs him now.
Yeah. I heard another broadcast talking a little bit about obviously all this, as most Denver Bronco media broadcasts are. But Nick Ferguson, I really like his idea, his take on things. He tries to keep a level head. He's a player, obviously, from the past as well, so kind of brings that thought process into it. He was talking a little bit about Melvin Gordon. He was saying, what Melvin Gordon needs to do right now is obviously try to put the past behind him. There's a lot on his shoulders. He needs to, help carry this team. He needs to be the support that this team needs right now, especially with Javonte gone. And he said, if you take all those same things I said and relate it to the fan base, it also rings true. We need to be supportive. We need to be the ones that help carry this team at times. We got a home game coming up against the Indianapolis Colts, and the last thing we need to do is have Javonte. Have Melvin Gordon take the field and hear any boos. I'll just use that as an example. That is not going to help this team whatsoever. So I know it's tough. I know that he's made mistakes, but the only thing this guy can do to really help us is to move on, help carry this team, help support him, and we need to do the same as well. So, just get
I'll
to
tell you
Ian.
one thing.
Go ahead, man.
I think Denver needs to do right away is announce the defense when they are announcing starters. Don't even give the crowd a chance to boo Gordon before he sees the field. Announce the defense. And that's one less thing that they can do to, starting at running back, Melvin Gordon, and then the crowd just erupts and boos.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that that's going to happen. So don't give
the opportunity.
Don't even give him the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
I hate to baby him, but I mean, you can even go back all the way to when his DUI arrest tape. I mean, he's telling the officer, "You got to let me go. I'm in a camp battle with Phil Lindsay." I mean, it's in his mind, and he needs to know. I mean, he's the guy right now, and that's it.
Yeah, big lean now on Gordon. A lot of people weren't sure if we should bring him back, and now, he's going to be a necessary piece, whether you like it or not. He's our guy. So, go ahead, Albert.
Yeah, the pressure of competition is now off the hook pretty much. Now he has a different type of pressure, and I think he can handle this one better than as you said, running back 2, running back 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the more difficult for him than being number 1 and making the game. Because he wants to prove every time and doing the utmost best, and that's where he gets in error because he thinks too much. And I think that's where the problem is.
100%.
I mean, go back to 2015. I never thought I would see Peyton Manning get booed, and when he threw 5 or 6 interceptions versus the Chiefs, I mean, they were booing him off the field, and look how it turned around when Brock wasn't playing so hot, and they had him come in that final game against the Chargers to wrap up the AFC. So.
And with Peyton, it was a different type of injury. It was his foot injury. And with Melvin, it is a mental one. So I think he will turn it around.
I just go to that as you want to turn this around, Melvin, and you want people to cheer you. Go out and have a big game Thursday.
Exactly.
Yeah,
hold the ball 100 yards, score some touchdowns. I mean, and they'll easily forget about them fumbles.
Just get to a few comments really quick, guys. By the way, and I was actually looking on my phone, right in before you jump into the stream, it says, "I'm going live with StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com/Facebook. The only reason I say that, we're getting some great people coming in saying, "Good evening, man," but Facebook user. So if nothing else, just give us your name in your comment. I'd love to give you a shout out. Update on Wilson for Thursday. I think we'll get to that in just a second. And good evening, gentlemen. I think this plays right in. Albert kind of hit it off, kind of state of the Broncos as well. As far as major injuries, how many major injuries are we going to have? And especially when it comes to ACL tears. We've had Tim Patrick now. We've had Javonte Williams. And we got really, really close with Gregory. And Ian's jumping in. He's saying with Gregory out again. Gregory is out 2 to 6 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at the best case scenario. I'm hearing not a tear. Had to go in. Had to get his knee scoped. Go in there, take a look at things. A lot of times that's a meniscus that you're looking at when you're not thinking that you're going to have a tear. So trimming or stitching a meniscus, and then of course the rehab after that. So Gregory's out, and Nick Benito looks like the next guy up on the depth chart. What do you guys expect? What do you expect as he comes in as probably that third guy?
Who, from Benito?
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
So Gregory, they placed him on IR, so he's out for at least 4 weeks, maybe longer. What do we expect from Benito? I think he's going to be situational, strictly pass rushing. I think you're going to lean hard on Barrett Browning to play a lot of snaps, especially with Jonathan Cooper still out with his hamstring. So I don't see a lot from Benito, really. I see some situational if you get the Colts in long third downs where he can come in and just strictly pass rush.
Or we might see Bonito showing up more and putting in a field next to Browning, so you have a double threat there. So that Browning is not just by himself. We might see that as well.
You know, one thing that was pointed out, and one thing that I certainly saw in training camp, is Benito, as great as he is as an edge rusher, he definitely needs to put on a little bit of weight still. Pretty thin through the hips, and can get pushed around quite a bit if he needs to set an edge. So I think, as Jody said, it's kind of got to be situational, and maybe it's situational by pairing him up with Browning a little bit too. But I think it's going to be tough to keep him in that rotation. I think it's going to fall heavy on Chubb and Browning. And another question is do you bring up a fourth guy? Heaven forbid one of these guys go down. I mean, if a Baron Browning, who's had an injury in the past, or a Bradley Chubb, who's had an injury past, happens to go down in this game, you're pretty thin if you're going to say, hey, it's Nick Benito and the next guy and the other guy all game long.
Don't forget Cooper. We have Cooper still too.
Yeah, we got Cooper, but he's been not practicing or limited practice at best. So
I think that's going to be a major problem because Cooper's still. I don't think he's going to play Thursday with the hamstring, and Aaron Patrick is in concussion protocol. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
He definitely isn't going to play Thursday. So
now you're looking at
have three
Congo,
guys
possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, he's on the practice squad. He's your next guy.
Chubb, Browning, and Benito. I mean, that's your three pass rushers.
Yeah. Like I said, it'll just be interesting to see if they bring up an emergency guy.
Only good thing for me is this is a Thursday game, and they have a little mini bye after this, so you got time to heal up.
And then they're going to London, right?
No, then it's Monday night versus San Diego or LA, the Chargers.
The LA Chargers. Nice catch. Way to go, buddy. It was Sis who's the Facebook user, so always Sis, great to have you on. Join us in. Appreciate you a ton. So, boy, what's next? I mean, obviously we can kind of talk about the injuries. Again, I want to rewind kind of my state of the Broncos just really quick. The one thing I do want to just keep in mind, and I kind of brought it up in kind of my introduction, is this is 4 games in with a whole bunch of new things. And man, if we haven't gotten riddled with injuries, because on top of these just recent injuries, Javonte and Gregory, we can talk about Pat Surtain having to be out for a little bit. We had to be talking about Simmons being gone. The injuries across the O-line, that whether they haven't been able to get in yet, like a Billy Turner or a Miners who's been out for a few games. I mean, we have had to try to struggle through, and I talked about it way back before in preseason when we started taking a look at the schedule. These first 5 games I felt were kind of like a murderer's row in a lot of way because of the way they were stacked back to back in these so many primetime games. It's those games that mean so much. You're in the spotlight a lot of times like this. We're on a short week now, so it's a rough stretch. And if we can come out 3-2, I'll be dang happy. But I do want to have everyone, Broncos country, have a little bit of patience. Believe me, it's easy to be reactionary. It's tough to lose to the Raiders. I mean, we got to get that next one. We got to beat them later in the year. But hold your head up high. We'll get through this. It's all good. All right.
And for the Raiders, it was an all or nothing game. They had to win because if they didn't, then they would be out of the running for the playoffs most likely. And so it was for them. It was an all or nothing, and you could see they went all out in every area. So I kudos to them.
Yeah, great. Maybe that's a great transition. We can transition over to what was the Raiders game. Jody, kind of walk us through this, man. How'd you feel about the game? Give us some highlights, hopefully. Give us some lowlights. Give us some give us some hope and promise if you can, but certainly be honest. That's always what you do, buddy.
The defense didn't have their best game. I mean, you gave up 144 rush yards to Josh Jacobs, who had not been running the ball well. They couldn't get big stops. I mean, that last stop at the end of the game, or last series for Oakland, reminded me strict, just like Vic. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't get off the field on third down, and gave up a touchdown. Some positives, I thought Russell Wilson played really well, and when Denver needed that drive to get within 2, I mean, he made passes. He went down there, got in the red zone, and said, I'm taking this in myself, and he got a touchdown. I thought Russell Wilson played well, but when you have 5 to 6 drops in this game, I mean, that's unacceptable. Mike Boone dropping passes left and right, Jerry Jeudy dropping passes, and where's Alberto played 1 snap. I mean, you traded Noah Fant away in hopes that Alberto was going to be there, and it's like Nathaniel Hackett he listens to the people. Last week, every snap that Alberto was in, it was a pass play. So now we just take him out because he can't block. You've got to design something. You've got to get a tight end. And the O-line, there needs to be some shakeup on this O-line. Cushenberry has not looked good. He gets drove back into the backfield. Whether you move Glasgow there or you give Wattenberg a chance and play Moody until Miners is back. You've got to make some changes on this O-line. You're not going to get any changes on the right tackle. Billy Turner and Tom Compton are wasted roster spots to me. I mean, I don't see them even being close to coming back. He didn't practice at all last week. He didn't practice today again. So what do we do? Put him on IR. It's a wasted roster space.
Yeah.
Do something there. And if Garrett Bowles is going to continue to hug dudes all the time, then you've got Calvin Anderson, who all I've seen has been a much better left tackle than right tackle. Make the switch. Hold guys accountable.
Well, Garrett Bowles needs, he's feeling a little lonely out there. He needs a little bro hug every now and then, buddy. I'm just giving you a bad time. Albert, give me your take. Well, let me back up. Jody, I'll be 100% honest. You're right on a lot of those things, man. It's this offensive line has not come together. They haven't been able to run the plays and protect against the defense that's been coming at us. So
when you say run the ball too, we're supposed to be a wide run zone. Why aren't we running outside? Everything's up the middle.
100% agree, man.
Wide run zone scheme, and you're going to do that. Then run outside, run some plays outside, bootleg, some toss sweep, something. They do nothing. Run up the middle. Then put your big guys in like Moody and bully them back if that's how you're going to run it.
100%. We've been going way too much up the middle to call this a wide zone scheme. And Albert, I'll let you go, man.
Okay, and I don't blame Bowles for all the holding calls. If it starts on the entire O-line, and if Cushenberry is getting pushed back like he is a little leaf, then you already have the problem there, and it goes outwards to both sides. And I don't think that Fleming was superior last week, so that goes back to Glasgow, and Glasgow cannot pick up free spots. So I think we need indeed a change, especially on the center. If we switch center, maybe put Glasgow in the middle, or maybe what Jody says, Wattenberg in there, and most likely we will have Miners back. And Miners' attitude and bullying, that is what we need there. And I think as soon as he gets back in, we will see a different O-line, even with Cushenberry in there.
And I expect this off of this little mini bye after Thursday. This is when you can make the switch. You're not going to see any changes Thursday.
I agree.
That's when you can make the switches, and you got time to get people acclimated to some things. My problem with Bowles is he blocks the guy well, and then all of a sudden it's right at the very last. It's a little tug here, or get your hands up under him. You don't need to do that. You've got him blocked. I mean, you've blocked him. But this little coming up under is
but Russell started.
That's got to stop.
Russell started running past him, and he was keeping the defender close to him so that Russ has a free play. But that's what happened with one of them.
And I'll give him a little bit of credit there. Russell was a lot more active around and outside, and just a lot more active with his legs. And sometimes that's going to catch you off guard. You're going to catch a holding play, but some of those looked really bad. Got to get to a comment because Last Eagle was joining in, and he was talking about when we were talking about supporting our Broncos. He said, "Indeed," and salute, obviously giving us a good evening and saying Melvin has the muscle. Melvin's going to have the muscle, man. Unfortunately, getting back to that game against the Raiders, that was probably the pivotal turning point in this game. I don't know how else to really explain it. When you're driving, when you have a 9-yard gain, and then you fumble the ball, not up into the air to the point that the defender can pick it up and roll it all the way back into the end zone and put 7 on the board. Man, there's nothing much else to say about that. That was devastating to the team, to their ego, to Broncos country. Go ahead, Jody.
I mean, that was a 10-point swing. I mean, you're in field goal range. You're going to take the lead going into half, and you're going to get the ball right after half. You put a drive together there, and you put the Raiders down double digits. I mean, that was just a killer.
Yeah, it's what I hear. Obviously 4 fumbles through 4 games, 5 fumbles through 5 games. If you go back to last year, he's had something like 3 or 4 fumbles for touchdowns now for the Broncos, and that just all starts to, play on our psyche as well, man. It feels like every time he got the ball. How many of you were excited when Melvin was lined up in the backfield and he was first handed the ball to, before he even hit the line of scrimmage, when he was just lined up back there, and you seen Russell hold that ball out, and you knew it was going to go to Gordon? Were you nervous, excited? Do you remember?
In the preseason and before the first season, I was excited because last year.
Yeah. I'm talking about in this game, because he hadn't seen the field. He hadn't seen the field until he fumbled.
Yeah, I was not happy, and I think maybe we all jinxed it because Gordon is in the field and he's gonna fumble again. Maybe that's what happened. So maybe we need to think all positive next time, and he is not going to fumble.
There you go.
I mean, I'm indifferent to it. If whether it's Melvin back there or Javonte or Mike Boone, when whoever's back there and their numbers called, I want them to make a play. I don't care. I'm not one of those that I've got to see Javonte Williams be the bell cow because I don't want to see Melvin succeed. I don't care.
Good.
I want to see whoever's back there make plays. But I am to the point now, whether you need him Thursday, but if he comes out and he fumbles right away, I mean, he's done. I don't care if you have to throw the ball 50 times. You've got to hold him accountable. He's not mentally right. Or he comes out and has a big game and knows the Broncos need him, and he's there for his teammates, and he shows that, hey, I still can do this. It's going to go one or two ways.
Yep.
It sure is, because as you pointed out, Jody, I didn't see, as much as I'm a Mike Boone fan, and he actually, if you look at his stats through the game, he didn't have that many carries, went for quite a few yards. He didn't have that many catches, but he was for positive yardage. But he was a complete liability in the blocking scheme.
Oh, horrible.
I mean, that was. I was rewatching, and they're like, and they blow around Bowles for a sack on Russell Wilson. No, they blew around Bowles because instead of kicking out and picking up that rusher, like he was supposed to. Mike Boone went right into the center of the offensive line where there was nobody needing help, and they just had a free rusher around the edge. So, I mean, we need someone like Melvin Gordon who has the mindset, but we also made a little bit of a signing, the only signing we've had in quite some time. Latavius Murray joins the Denver Broncos, longtime veteran, a gentleman who's actually tore up the Broncos once upon a time as well. So, Albert, I'll go to you first. What's your thoughts on the Latavius Murray signing?
He is a little bit old in the teeth, I think. 32.
Yep.
But if he can do something, then let's try it. We can't get worse than what we already are. So, and he might just bring a little bit of new energy in there, and especially seniority, because he has the experience. So who knows? Maybe we might go wide schemes now instead of Rudy Center.
And anybody out there, commenters, feel free, jump in. What did you think about obviously the Raiders game? Our Raiders lost to the Raiders, and right now we're talking about Latavius Murray signing, longtime veteran. Jody, your thoughts? Does it help our running back room? Is it anything that you see playing out on Thursday? Is there something that we see down the road?
No, I like this signing. I mean, he was the Saints' leading rusher Sunday, 11 carries for 57 yards.
Isn't that amazing?
5.2 and had a touchdown. And the big thing, I think, why he was brought in is what they say he's played 10 years or whatever it's been now, and he's had 8 fumbles in his career. Melvin Gordon's had that in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't put the rock on the ground. That's the big thing. And I still think if you watch him, he still he's not getting a lot of snaps the last couple of years. So 32 might be 30 with the amount of plays he's not getting. So,
and let's face it, he's never been that guy that's been like a bell cow number one back for any particular team. He's always been a secondary back.
Yeah, that 1 year or a couple of years with Oakland, and that was really it.
So, and that's where the experience might come in. He might be a mental help for Melvin with the experience that he has, being a second running back or even a third stringer, and I think that is one of the smartest decisions that they have done to get him in to help Melvin Gordon probably mentally.
Yeah, good point, man. Because I think bringing in a veteran like this and having that veteran in your ear, it would have been. I mean, there was a big call for like Philip Lindsay to come back to the Denver Broncos. Obviously, a guy who hasn't fumbled a whole lot. Another good story as far as that's concerned. But again, a guy who's been a liability in the blocking scheme, and a guy I don't think that necessarily is going to help Melvin Gordon in any particular way. You bring in someone like Latavius Murray, and that's a guy that can maybe help, calm the mind and give that veteran mentality and leadership in the running back room. So. Matt jumping in and saying Murray's signing is huge. He will see field north of 40% of the snaps within 2.5 weeks. And I could see it because I think he's also, the one thing that we haven't talked about, it's great that he's putting great rushing averages out there, and it's great that he has a touchdown last week. But, man, the guy knows how to block as well. He can put a block on a linebacker. He can put a block on a cornerback or a safety coming around the corner. So.
And that's why I was never high on bringing Philip Lindsay in. I mean, yes, he has sentimental value playing in Colorado and all that, but he will. You can say Mike Boone's horrible at catching. Philip Lindsay was bad.
That's
true. And his pass blocking was almost just as bad.
Yep.
I mean, yes, he had 1,000 yards here and did some things, but that isn't what Denver needed right now. And he definitely wasn't going to help Melvin Gordon mentally.
And I didn't realize this too. Since he's on the opponent's practice squad right now, you couldn't have got him this week. You would have had to waited until after this game, even if you wanted to go after Philip Lindsay. It kind of makes sense as well. So, just one more thing on this. He says, "I'm hopeful Gordon can get out of the slump. Just has to show he's there mentally." There was one other media outlet that brought up this point. I thought it was a fantastic one. It's a reference. It's a baseball reference, so it's way out of our league. No pun intended, way out of our league. But That being said, Chuck Knobloch for the Yankees, way back in the day, used to be with the Minnesota Twins, went over to the Yankees, and he went through this funk where he could not throw to first base. Couldn't do it. He couldn't throw. I mean, they literally had to sit him down, had to take him out, and I think that's very similar to what we're kind of seeing with Melvin Gordon. He's too much in his head, like Matt said. Just needs to show that he's there mentally. And again, it's going to be a big obstacle. And I just want, honestly, my rally cry is for Broncos country, all those fans in the stands at Invesco Field at Mile High to be 100% behind this guy as much as you can be. I mean, not as much as you can be, 100% behind this guy. I know that if a few of you guys are out there maybe supporting him, maybe that makes the difference. I know that it's going to be tough for him to get some support come Thursday night. So,
and something that is Melvin said Elway said in his book too. It is not just every game; it is every play that you have to start new, and that is what Melvin has to do. Okay, I had a fumble. Done. Let's go to the next play. And if he can start thinking like that, I think we have a good running back.
Yeah, you got to get past it. You know, I think it was Russell who said, "Do you think that who was it? Walter Payton or Adrian Peterson never fumbled?" You know, it happens, buddy. We need to get past it. This one I'm going to throw over to Jody real quick. Matt has a question. He says, "If Gordon fumbles again in this next game, let's say first quarter of the game, what do you do, Matt? What do you do, Jody?"
If he fumbles early, he's done. He's mentally checked out. I guess it depends on how he reacts. When he left the field last week, I mean, his head was down, helmet was off. He went and sulked kind of on the bench, and I mean, he was mentally out of it. And you could see that in the press conference. If he fumbles and he runs to the sideline and he's getting everyone, "Hey, I messed up." It depends on how he reacts, but
okay,
if you get a reaction like last week, he's done. And if that means Russell throws 50 times, so be it.
Okay, so that brings me to this. When you say he's done, does that mean he's done for this game? Does that mean he's done? He's third string? Does that mean you're releasing Melvin Gordon and opening up a spot on your roster?
I think you're releasing Melvin Gordon. It's little. The money doesn't even matter, but it's one of those you got to hold players accountable. And
very good.
At what point is injuries shouldn't just keep giving injuries shouldn't just give you a starting spot. There's other guys that can hold the rock.
All right, just getting back to the game. Obviously, there was a couple other miscues. I mean, we even had a missed field goal in this game as well, guys. Kind of an odd situation. I thought it was funny, and the only reason I bring it up is because Brandon McManus kind of got into it on Twitter with somebody, because if you watch that field goal, obviously not only does Corliss Waitman have to go up high to get that ball and try to bring it down, but he also lets go of the ball completely before McManus kicks it. So it was a comedy of errors, but errors nonetheless. We haven't had a whole lot of issues from Bobenmeyer, but any concern there, guys?
Yeah, this is now the second mistake from Bobenmeyer that we see in 5 weeks. One in the preseason game, and now again. I don't know what is happening, if it is something that is mentally happening there, that they cannot handle the pressure, or the setbacks that he cannot handle with it. I think there needs to something to change in that area. If the players can stay calm, and indeed, like I said before, it is a play-by-play thing, and not in the first quarter we had a mishap, and we know in the fourth quarter, and we are still suffering from it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that comes with experience, and also by training.
Yeah, and maybe quite honestly, just a little bit of accountability as well. But
I
obviously-
agree with that. The accountability. I have yet to see, besides Albert O, get held accountable for any really mistakes. I mean, Albert O can't get blocked and the media calls him out on it. Albert O doesn't play the next week.
Yeah.
I mean, but no one holds anyone really. I have yet to see Hackett. He's a real players coach. At some point, he has to light someone up and tell them.
Yeah.
Either you're going to produce, or we got other guys that want to feed their families.
Yeah. And it's interesting because he's been that wholehearted support guy. You can see that he's starting to get a little bit hardened as you start to watch these press conferences and you start to take losses and you start to get these questions. Even when he was asked, what is it about? What do we need? What does Melvin Gordon need? What does what's the issue with Melvin? And how can you get him out of this funk with the fumbles? And he says, you hold it high and tight. He goes, elbow above the, or wrist above the elbow. You know what I mean? He's like, it's just fundamentals, and so I think he's starting to click into that a little bit of that. Hey, it's all good. We can support you, but at the same time, man, you got to do your job. It's really simple. You know what I mean? And you can't be extending, and you can't be trying to get extra yardage, and you can't always try to be the hero. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to take 8 yards and go down and not go 9 yards and fumble.
With him, though, one thing that really struck me today, and I don't know if he's not getting his coaches together and they're not on the same page. When Auden was asked what they needed from Gordon, Auden right away said, we're going to lean on Gordon hard Thursday, and we need Gordon to produce. And when they asked Hackett said, we haven't made any decisions at the running back position yet. I mean, you can't have your OC saying one thing and your head coach saying another thing. I mean, you got to be on the same page.
Yeah, very true. True.
That's not. I mean, that's a problem.
And that, quite honestly, it's like media 101 for your coaching staff, right? You should be out there and be able to be united. It is pretty bad when you're going out there and you have different stories that you're telling the media, and the media's catching you, quote unquote, catching you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, good. We need to talk to Coach Outen a little bit more because he'll let the cat out of the bag. That's last.
Well, that's when they tried to catch him last week or a couple weeks ago. It was like, what? Well, he said he's not going to throw Hackett under the bus. You can't do that.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, but Hackett's got to, whether he gets a coaches meeting and said, they're going to ask you these type of questions. We got to be on the same page.
Yeah. What else on this game, guys? Anything else that we can really pull out of this? Obviously, it was a game where third down conversions didn't happen, where first downs didn't come often, where time of possession was not in our favor. Outside of, again, I think we made some minor strides over stupid penalties and stupid mistakes that we made over the first couple of weeks. But, and quite honestly, I'll give it this. I said when the Broncos, I said before the game, when the Broncos score their first 30-point game, it's going to be exciting. They were 7 points. They were a touchdown away. And if they would have been a 30-32 game, they were dang close. Quite honestly, and you can't blame the defense, but they couldn't close it down coming down the stretch. We were right there. We were 23-25 at the time. Let the Raiders march down the field, put a touchdown up on the board, and that was pretty much the end of our any real hope, I guess, of getting into that game. So,
yeah,
one thing go ahead, Albert.
You really could see this with this game that we were missing some key players, Miners, Javonte Williams, Gregory, Simmons. You could really tell that this was the game that they were really, really missed.
Yeah, and especially when you lose key players in the game, right? I mean, it's one thing when you have to plan for it coming into the week. It's one thing when Simmons is not going to be part of your plan going in. But when all of a sudden someone like Javonte Williams goes down, that's a major game changer as far as what you had thought going into that game. 100% agree.
Yeah, I just hope that Hackett can figure some things out. I mean, I think the clock management's been better, but
Yeah.
He had to bring a guy in to do that. I mean, is it time for him to give up play calling? I mean, his play calling has been really vanilla, and you can see, I mean, you can just you can sit back and you can almost see some of the plays that are going to happen before they happen.
Yeah.
And
Concepts
that's
are fairly
change.
simple right now. Yeah.
Now, I'll give Russell some credit. Russell's starting to run the ball, and you can see that the sit back in the pocket for 10 seconds until a receiver gets open. That's done. If I have to run to get 5 or 6, I'm going to do it. And that's old Russell Wilson.
And who knows? The play calling might already come from the booth upstairs, and it just passed on to Hackett, so we don't know. And a new coach might not know all the plays yet. I don't know. It could be a possibility.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I said at the very kind of the top of the show, I think it's one of those things that you got to kind of run it out. We're a quarter of the way through the season. You know, again, expectations are maybe higher. Everyone came in and thought we're one piece away, but we didn't also expect to be missing Tim Patrick. We didn't expect to now go down with Judy. We didn't expect. I mean, not Judy. I'm sorry, but Williams. Honestly, we didn't expect. I didn't expect that Turner and Compton and all this would take all this long to come back, and even the guys that we did end up signing in free agency, like Gregory. What were we worried about? We're worried about his injury past. You know what I mean, and whether that would sneak up and hurt us. Well, we kind of made that bed, and now we're lying in it a little bit. We brought back Melvin Gordon. You know, a lot of question was whether we should bring back Melvin Gordon. Well, we brought him back. We made that bed, we lie in it. So there's a little bit to be said about that too. Matt has one last question. I almost want to just put this to bed right now, but he says, for anybody listening, last Gordon question: if Gordon and company can't get the ball moving, do you consider putting Mr. Inconsistency, Jerry Jeudy, on the block for a running back and some draft compensation? I just don't see it happening, quite honestly, and running back doesn't have that value anymore in the NFL. It does when you're missing one in the middle of the regular season, but when it comes to free agency and draft and the whole nine, I just don't see it. And Judy's starting to come on, man. If we can get him clicking, that might be the difference maker in our season, in my opinion. So,
but there's some things even with Judy that I when you go and watch a couple games, I watched the Cowboys game, and when CeeDee Lamb catches the ball in the middle, he tries to bulldoze guys. Jerry Judy's a couple jukes and step out of bounds. I don't. It's like you're gonna get into a Twitter war with Shannon Sharp, and then you don't produce on the field. And look at Cortland Sutton, like when he caught that ball, like whatever that was late in the game, and took it for 18. I mean, he was juking and jiving, and he didn't go out of bounds. He ran and made plays to make that a manageable fourth down. You don't see that from Judy.
Yeah, that might be the case. I think he's a different receiver certainly than a Cortland Sutton, and I would even say a CeeDee Lamb. But also, hey, I need this guy just to be consistent and catching the ball and running routes and being involved. We can worry about turning up the field and taking on hits and fighting for yardage afterwards. I'm just happy with some of the progress that I'm starting to see from Jerry Jeudy. I was very concerned with him coming into this year, and there has been some progress, at least in my mind, especially if you consider last year.
And right now we cannot afford trading him for a pick or whatever, because where are our offensive weapons? Hamler is only playing sporadically. We don't have a Virgil. We don't have. So where are we going to? Alberto is not there. Maybe Delchis might start playing, so maybe that changed a little bit. But other than that, we only have two really weapons, and that is Sutton and Jeudy.
Yeah,
that's what we're relying on.
And I'll piggyback off of that. I don't. And this is a Hackett thing. Why are you? If KJ Hamler is going to play 4 snaps, granted he got you a big play last week, why are you dressing him and taking up a roster spot? A 53 or a 46. Play someone that can get snaps in. I mean, Sutton is basically playing the whole game. Jeudy pretty much playing the whole game. You don't play you didn't play Montel Washington hardly on offense, so you have.
Yep.
I mean, come the fourth quarter, it's Sutton, and you got guys are tired. play KJ Hamler more than 4 snaps, or don't dress him and suit Virgil. Virgil's supposed to be a speedster.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he run that same route and give you other things?
Plenty to be frustrated about, man. And kind of, I just want to segue, man, because we're getting a little bit long in time. Before, I guess we should. I need to. I missed a little sponsor again, but again, thank you guys so much over at Willis Seasonings and Blends. They are our sponsor. They do fantastic for us. They'll do fantastic for you. They have a full lineup. So whether it's steak or fish or pork or you name it, if you're not a meat person, man, this stuff on your vegetables. Owner even loves to throw some of this on his popcorn as a seasoning. So head over to willowseasonings.com. Believe me, they will spice up your life. We need to head over to Thursday. It's only a couple days away, man. It seems like all these games are coming rapid fire anymore, guys. So Indianapolis comes to town. Obviously not the hottest team in town. I know there's a little bit of questions. Do you guys know Jonathan Taylor?
He's a day-to-day.
He's day-to-day still? Okay. Obviously.
This sounds like he's trending not to play. That's
trending not?
the last
Okay.
I heard, but
EJ Evero says they're planning on him playing. Obviously, I think that would make quite a bit of a difference. But first thoughts, guys, going into this game. What's first off? Start with you, Jody. What do we need to do offensively against this Colts team?
if I was Hackett, I would get the ball to Melvin Gordon early, and I would try to get him involved in this game and see where that goes. If it goes good, if it goes bad like last week, then all bets are off, and hope Latavius Murray can learn. But I would definitely try to get Melvin Gordon involved and make him a part of this team and get this run game going, and then from there move to other things. Russell Wilson can throw the ball and he can make plays. I'm not worried about that. But you cannot go half a quarter and not get Melvin Gordon involved, or he'll be checked out.
Good point, man. Albert, your thoughts coming into this game offensively, man? How do we get rolling now against this Colts team? So
I think the first ball has to go to Melvin to bring him that confidence, even if it is only a 1 yard gain. But if he can hold on to the ball, I think that will predict the game. Offensively, yeah, they need to get it together, especially at center. If Cushenberry is not getting bullied around, I think we make a pretty good shot and have a decent offense. Because you saw, even with a sieve of an offensive line, we still had 23 points. So it somehow it is coming together, and we have now 3 scores in the red zone. So it is coming together.
yeah, that's a good point. Kind of rewind into this last game, man. A couple of great passes. Obviously, Courtland Sutton across the back of the end zone there. Russ runs in his own. What was the third score? All of a sudden, it's a blanket.
Judy. Touchdown to Judy.
The Judy all the way down to the goal line and the roll across the ends or the goal line in order to get the touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, starting to click a lot better than what we had seen. So, but I'm not going to disagree with you guys. I'm going to say, it would be great to have Gordon touch the ball. Actually, all of a sudden, I had a vision in your mind as you both end up saying that of Gordon getting the ball and then it's a flea flicker back to Russell Wilson, because that would be a great way to get him a touch and not have him involved at all, almost. You know what I mean? So, and really play into that thing that Jody was talking about. This team has been so vanilla, so predictable. It's not like I want to be going for it on fourth and long or something crazy like that. But the play calling just needs to be something more than what we've had. It'll be interesting. If Latavius Murray gets in this game, he is a downhill runner. It's not that tough for, obviously, a running back to get into the game. He can, as I saw one guy said, they can say that big, long play and then just turn to Latavius Murray and say that's right. That's a sweep right, off tackle. You know what I mean? And, just go from there. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets into the game and how much, in my opinion. So,
Or put them both in the field, Melvin and Latavius.
yeah. I
we
mean,
haven't seen hardly any of that.
I'm gonna give Jody the screen time because, like he said, we have not seen anything, man. We have not seen anything innovative out of this offense. Honestly, what do you? I know what you want. What do you expect, Jody? What do you expect out of this game offensively?
I expect them to feed Melvin Gordon early, and I don't know why, but I expect Melvin Gordon to have a big game.
Okay,
I expect him to redeem himself, and I expect a big game, over 100 yards, maybe a couple touchdowns. I expect it.
I'm gonna switch over to the defense for you, Albert. Man, last week one thing that kind of concerned me is the rushing yards that this defense gave up. Got to see the Raiders kind of run up all over us. Was that exposing this defense? And what do you expect, especially if Taylor is able to play in this game?
I don't think it was an exposure. I think they were too focused on Javonte Adams and Waller, and I think that's where the focus was on. And they did not make the right adjustments through the game. That was the biggest problem, I think. The main focus was on Waller, and they were, at some points, they were dangerous, the Waller and Adams, but not, in my opinion, not dangerous enough.
Yeah. How about you, Jody, man? How about this defense? Do you think they were exposed? Do you think the run game is something that will be focused on as far as offenses going up against this Broncos defense?
I think they were exposed a little bit in discipline, and the one play that comes to mind is that whatever third or fourth down play when they pitched it out to Josh Jacobs to get the first down. If Chubb just holds his edge and does what he's supposed to do and not crash, he's right there for a tackle, and that shuts him down, and they probably kick a field goal right there. I mean, little things like that. I mean, you got to be disciplined.
Yeah, and Hackett even pointed that out. He said, offense or defense, you do your job and things fall into place, and that's a perfect example. If Chubb would have done his job on that play, he would have been sitting there for Jacobs. Nothing else. He's going to turn him back inside. He's not going to catch that edge. He's not going to go for the big run. So,
one other thing I would like to see is Denver always found a way to get Julius Thomas the ball when he was a horrible blocker. He was on the field. He didn't just stay on the sideline. Why
correct.
Can they not do that with Albert O? Why? I mean, dummy block, chip, something. Get Albert O. You've seen him. He can make plays. He's explosive. You've got to get him on the field, and it can't be this hard. You are only going to block type thing. I mean, Denver ran the ball when Julius Thomas was on the field. So,
Jody, I'm going to keep you on screen because I don't even know if I want to even bring this comment up because it seems like it's playing right into your lowering your top. That ball cap and those headphones go flying right off. But Adam's coming in saying we can't expect greatness with the lack of coaches that have been in their roles for a limited time.
That's been.
You want to say anything there?
That's really been my biggest thing when they hired this coaching staff. They're all very unexperienced. Who do they have that's done this before? New DC, new OC, new head coach, new special teams coach. You don't have anyone that's ever called plays before, and the last time Hackett did it in Jacksonville, it wasn't very good. So,
well, he didn't have the best quarterback. I'll give him a little bit of a break.
That's true, but that's where I think George Payton needed to say, you need to bring in, you've got to put somebody on this staff that's experienced that can help you with some things. And that's one thing that's lacking.
Yeah, that might be the case. The one thing I'll just say to that is I think this is a team that can grow together, and I think that was the whole idea behind it. We're bringing in a lot of young guys. We're going to have some veterans in places like we should in the quarterback position, maybe in the safety position, and the edge rusher, whatever it happens to be. We'll have our key guys in key positions, but this is a team that if given the opportunity, if they can get moving in the right direction, I think could really grow and really be something special. But it's got to get clicking, man. It's got to get clicking. So
And
Albert's going to jump in. I'll go ahead, Albert.
And they better start paying them and setting them up for contracts, because I think if they don't do that, Evie or Evero will be gone by the end of the year. And so if they don't put him on a big contract, then we start all over again next year.
That's a good point. As the end of the year comes near, and if the Broncos aren't in a playoff hunt and people start hunting for coaches, especially those early fires, he could be at the top of the list at this point. Might want to get him under contract. Adam, thank you for coming in. If you didn't catch the beginning of the show, believe me, I think I was a little bit more positive. But he says it will be great. It will take time, though patience will be key. So patience is something that we don't have a whole lot of time. Well, I was going to say we don't have a whole lot of time, so patience is running out here for us. We're up against the clock, guys. Let's get some predictions as we head into the Colts game. Albert, we'll start with you. How do you see this game going? Give me your score prediction.
I think our offense, even with Melvin, will get it together. They will get 23, 24 points. And the defense will be in much better shape, I really hope. And so 24-10.
24-10 in favor of the home Broncos. All right. Jody, you feeling confident, like a 23-10?
I think it might be an uglier type game, but I do see, and I don't know why, but I see Melvin Gordon. He's going to carry this team. He's going to have a big game, something like 22 to 25 carries, over 100 yards, a couple touchdowns, and I see something like 21-13.
Very good, man. I got Adam coming in before we get out of here as well. He's thinking 17-14, Broncos with the win. I'm kind of along those same lines. I think this is, once again, with all the injuries, with a short week, we're trying to get it. We even have Russell Wilson, who wouldn't have been expected to practice if they would have been practicing come Monday. He got a little dinged up. There's a lot of things going on here. I think we get a win, but I think it's going to be one of those ugly wins as well. This could be I'm going to go like 15-10 type of win for the Broncos. Just an ugly Broncos win. But hey, guys, the way I look at it, it's 3-2. We're 3-2 heading into a mini bye week as we have a long stretch from Thursday to a Monday night game. A lot of time to get healthy. The expectation is Michael Ojemudia is back and playing on the field. Greg Dulcich is back and playing on the field at that point as well. So start Justin Simmons back and playing on the field at that. Quinn Miners, yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, literally, if we can come out 3-2 off of this game and find someone to just eke out an ugly, nasty, terrible win, just get it, because 3-2 is going to propel us that much further as we come back off of this. Any final thoughts, Albert, before we get out of here?
Yeah, all the others lose in our division again, and only the Broncos win.
I love it, man. How about Jody, man? Any final thoughts getting out of here tonight?
Find another playmaker besides Sutton and get Melvin Gordon involved early and get his head focused and right.
Yep.
And I'll agree, man. I would love to see Melvin Gordon go out there and be focused. But like I said at the very beginning of this game, everybody, please go out there, support your Broncos. Man, he's got the world riding on his shoulders. He knows it. Go out there, give him some love. Give him one of those Garrett Bowles bear hugs, you know what I mean, that he gives the offensive lineman. No, don't give him no more of that, Garrett Bowles. But honestly, let's love our Broncos. Let's go. Let's get out of here, gentlemen. Hey, we'll be talking the next time we talk. We'll be talking hopefully a Denver Broncos win. So from all of us, thank you, Rocky Mountain Sports Network, Willow Seasonings, and of course the Denver Bronco Roundup. Thanks, everyone.